G'day guys, Chris here, Midlife Carpentry. Welcome back to another installment. This is part 3 of the van build. So yeah, let's have a watch and see how hard it was for me to get these drawers in the van. All right. So, moment of truth. Let's see if we can get them to fit. Watch me, see how we go. It's tight, but it fits. Like a glove. Perfect. I'm not going to tell you the real truth. Oh, actually, hang on. I better show you this clip. Watch this one. Watch this clip.
So, I got a bit of an issue. The drawers are too big. Just by a few mil, really. That's all it is. It's just off, just not quite right. I wanted to get the most out of the space, and I certainly have made that. So, but I have an idea. I'll do some trimming out near the wheel arches, and hopefully pull the drawers back over to those sides and clear it up a bit. That's all I need. I need that space just so I can slide that saw stand in. Once that's in, everything else can slot around it. That's fine. Live and learn, I guess. Hey. So many fun and games.
So yes, that was a major hiccup for me, really. I mean, the fact that I went to the effort of getting the drawers inside the van. I knew I was always going to have to pull them out to paint them anyway, but yeah, it was a bit of a pickle. But anyway, we got it done, we sorted it out, fits nicely. That was basically to get the van up and running so I can get it out, use it, and then later on that weekend I pulled them back out again and I painted them to what they are now. So just with a sealer undercoat, a 3-in-1, and then an exterior paint, 2 coats of that as well. I really wanted to make sure everything was nice and sealed. I wanted to make sure any timber that was in this van was going to be sealed up and protected from the elements, because realistically, I live in tropical North Queensland. It will get hammered by rain at some point during the stage of its life. So yeah, where I can, try and look after it. Righto guys, I'm going to keep putting this drawer in. Alright, as you can see, I've done the shelves first. The shelves were the easier thing to do before putting the drawers in. So once the shelves were in place, then I was able to put the drawers in separately, and it worked out quite well. So plus it meant that I could do it on my own because I was on my own. So yeah, it made life a little bit easier for me. So. In case you're wondering what I have been doing with the screws, I've actually got stainless steel screws here. I've been throwing a bit of Loctite on there as well. This is 222. I normally use it on door handles and stuff. Comes in really handy, but just a bit of thread locker just to try and keep them screws where they should be for however long they need to be there for. Yeah, handy tip that. So the drawers worked out really well. They did. At the end of the day, they sit there nicely, they do their job, they're functional, okay, which is fantastic. But there's a few little things that I think I need to share with you guys about stuff that I would have improved on, things I would have done a little bit differently. Now I've still got another drawer to do, another drawer with proper runners and stuff to do on the other side, on the behind the driver's seat. So we'll go through that one later on down the track. But I'll actually build that one from scratch. I won't use a CNC at work or anything. I'll actually use that with a track saw and off a sheet of ply, and I'll put it together that way. Because, look, I think it's important to show you guys that it is possible to do this sort of thing without having to need a big expensive CNC machine. All right, so I just wanted to show a different way of doing it. So that's what we're going to do that right. Anyway, that's later on. The points I'd like to raise. First of all, first point number one is the drawer cutouts themselves. Now, I don't know whether you can really see it here, but there's a gap at the base of the actual outers of the drawers themselves. Now, you'll see that as I'm assembling the drawers together, you'll see that there's cutouts. All right, now these cutouts were extra material for me to use to do cross bracing and stuff, so top and bottom bracing and stuff. So I come in handy for that, and it's also material I'm going to use to put dividers in. So I've still got to do the dividers on the drawers to stop the Mac packs from shifting around. I mean, classic example, you can probably almost see now that there's a gap here, but these sit flush already. So it makes the Mac packs tighter, harder to open. You've got to shift them around to get access to them. So putting dividers in. What I would have changed about these is made them, I suppose, the sizing's good, but I reckon I could have only, instead of doing 3 at the top and 3 at the bottom, I would have just done 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom. So I would have just done 4 cutouts. So I made it thicker in the middle piece. So the middle pieces are actually quite thin, and it concerns me a little bit. I don't think it's going to be an issue because I will brace it up in other ways, like from the sides and from here. But yeah, I will reduce the amount of cutouts I have, so from 6 down to 4. The other good thing about the cutouts is the fact that they gave you access, okay? So they gave you access when you're doing the drawer runners. So it was a lot easier for me, I found it a lot easier for me to be able to come through those access points and stuff and put screws into the runners and secure things to the shell itself and to the drawers as well. So both will come pretty handy. And the other side of it is a lot lighter. So it made the outer carcass of the drawer a lot lighter and a lot easier to handle when moving it around. Even with the drawer in the actual carcass itself, it's actually easy enough to move around. Man-handled a fair bit, but you can move it around, or woman-handled, whatever you want to say. Something that I didn't really account for, and something that I was a little bit disappointed in, was the fact that the boards that I purchased were warped. Now, that's across the board. Any of the boards I seem to have looked at, I've looked at a different style of board as well, and that was warped also. So for the other drawers I'm going to do, I'm going to actually try and step it up a bit and actually go, there's actually some hardwood ply. So structural ply, it's actually hardwood. So it's a nice finish on it. It's a shame because it's going to be painted or carpeted over or whatever. But it's a nice finish on it. But they're the boards that I picked up initially. The price was actually quite exy. I put them away and went with a cheaper board. Obviously, the cheaper board meant that things weren't as flat and as great. So I was a little bit disappointed in the board condition, so the way they were supplied to me. So the overall width was a bit too much. So as you saw, I struggled to get that first round in. I had to pull them out, trim some things off. It fit very well. I should have just taken into account that, okay, my measurements need to allow for a variance, all right? And I was just so fine at making sure that I could fit the saw stand in that it caught me out a bit. So yeah, that I would have done a bit differently. I would have made the drawers just that slightly smaller. I did have the ability to do that. There is some space probably in the bigger drawer where I could have shrunk it just that little bit more, just to allow for that difference. So the bigger drawer could have been shrunk down a little bit more to allow for the possible variance that might be between the wheel arches of a Hiace van. T-nuts were a great way to secure the draw runners to the timber. So instead of using screws, okay, which can flog out over time or may become damaged or come loose and stuff or shift with the timber, the idea of the T-nut is the fact that it's a clamp. It clamps down the timber. So it's basically a bigger surface area, okay, from the back that secures a screw and runner to the piece of timber. So yeah, I definitely highly recommend you guys using T-nuts and stuff if you're doing this sort of work. I think it's a lot better than screws and options for screws, especially with heavier draws such as these. One little thing though, keep in mind, double check your draw runners, because there was in fact a point where I needed a screw with a countersunk head, okay, for one of the screws on the draw runner. So it's only one screw per draw runner that actually had to be a countersunk head. I think it's to do with the mechanisms and stuff there that allow the drawers to slide back in over each other. So keep that in mind. Double check your draw runners, because some of them may actually need a countersunk screw. Okay, so that does it for the van build part 3. So look, I hope you've enjoyed it so far, guys. Keep with me. I am going to keep these installments coming for the van build, and I've got another quite a few more to do. There's stuff I want to show you. Like I said, I've got that drawer to do on the passenger side, driver's side, sorry, to do. I've got that to do. I've got some sidewells to do as well, either side of it. I've got the top to do. I've got to do a drawer for internally here for the levels, etc. So yeah, lots to do. Very, very busy. I've got a carport to build. I've got to put that together. Now that I'm back from WA, it's time to get stuck into that. So that's exciting. That's going to start happening next week. Again, I'll try and get as much footage as I can for that. I'll keep you posted on that so you can have a look at it too. And yeah, fun and games for all. Righto guys, Build On Legends, have a cracker of a week or weeks, however long it's going to be before I get back to you. And yeah, we'll chat again soon, eh? Take care. See ya. Bye.